Presentation here was started before the rugby yesterday and finished after the rugby yesterday. So Scotland-England game was on. Scotland, we've invented a lot of sports. We like playing sports. We're just not particularly good at them, unfortunately. So, but I thought this was probably quite apt for this presentation because this is one of the first sports that Scotland invented. And I say we're talking about Stirling University. So, as I say, Eclipse IP and University of Stirling. As I say, I'm Neil Alexander. I'm from Eclipse IP. A little bit about our background there. We are, as I say, a Scottish-based company. We used to be called Clear Image, but back in through our history, back in 2009, Stephen Ripley, my business partner who's in the crowd here, also wearing a kind of corporate coloured tie, he and I decided that IP cameras really were the way to go, and the simplest way in our minds to be recognised as an IP installer was, well, let's pick a word that has IP in the middle. So this is why we became Eclipse IP. We've been working with Mobotix since probably about 2007, maybe a couple of months in, where I was at a previous international partners conference, and we came along to that conference, and up until that point, Stephen and myself and a few other guys in the company, we'd been in the security industry for maybe 10 years plus, but we'd always done analog solutions. So IP was new to us and we were very sceptical, but we came along, enjoyed the conference very much, enjoyed the hospitality as Scottish people always do, and I'm sure we'll see you in the bar later on to continue that. But so yeah, I say we left that with a new mindset. Suddenly, IP was the only way forward for us. We still do some analog, but it's very minimal. So as I say, that's Eclipse IP. But we're more here today to talk about the solution we did for University of Stirling. Because there's a bit of a mixture of guys in the room and everything else in Scotland, and geographically or worldwide, Scotland's not the biggest country in the world, but we tend to like to try and make ourselves heard. I thought I'd give you a little bit of background about University of Stirling. Stirling within Scotland is very centrally placed, very historic place, and obviously the photo at the start was from Braveheart, which was my poor reference to the rest of the world for Scotland, but anyone that actually knows anything about Scottish history will actually know that Braveheart is nothing like that's what actually happened in real world, but it's a very good film, so let's say that's what happened. So anyway, yeah, University of Stirling, as I say, is based, Stirling. Quite unique in universities in Scotland, certainly, from the point of view of everything is on one campus. It's a countryside campus. Every other university in Scotland is city-based, quite far spread out. So it's very unique from that point of view, but it also is very well recognised, again, for a number of things academically, but also for sporting side of things. And we were proud to be the winners of the project that we're going to look a little bit further at here. And as I say, the solution is quite heavily Mobotix based, but from the university's point of view, as I say, they were looking for an upgrade to what they had. But again, just let's stick with the Braveheart reference. So the world premiere of Braveheart was held in times when Catherine Zeta-Jones hadn't quite got together with her slightly more famous husband as now. So the issues that we had in Stirling, or the issues that the university had, was as with most businesses or sites of any size, they have existing camera systems. It's fairly rare, unless you come across a brand new project, that you're not going to come across somebody that has an existing camera system. The UK, for example, per head of population has the most cameras of any country in the world. So what was interesting earlier on in some of the presentations was Middle East, Africa type region are probably the ones that seem to have bought into IP technology the most. And partly that would be, I'd imagine, because there's not so many historic systems needing to be upgraded. So as the university had a system, very large campus, only 64 cameras and a number of issues. Analog cameras, what can we say? We know from the presentations that have been up earlier on and from hopefully everyone's experience with Mobotix, analog in comparison is a poor image. Even the live image is a poor image in real terms. There was a real mixture of recording technologies. There was lots of different manufacturers. Believe it or not, there was still a few VCRs there, these sort of things. And David, who's head of security for Stirling, is with me today. I don't think he'll mind saying that it needed a little bit of TLC, needed a little bit of work to bring it up to standard. So, and again, one of the major parts of the project was to pull everything together and develop an actual proper control room as such. So, as I say, we basically pulled the system together. These image quality, these aren't actually the best photos of Mobotix cameras, but it's just the way they came off on our system, unfortunately. But we were able to take all of the existing system together, multiple manufacturers, multiple camera types, statics, Pantone zoom dome cameras, and also virtual PTZ cameras, and pull them all onto a single platform and a single centralized control position. I say centralized, from the point of view of, again, from David's point of view, he can access that from his office, the other guys can access it from anywhere on the network, as is one of the benefits of IP and Mobotix. But they really wanted to pull it all together so that they had a purpose-built control room. Again, every other provider, every other suggestion for the solution was based around a more traditional approach. Some were analog, some were IP, but they were based around